We are live, episode 105, Joel Fleischman Happy Hour podcast. We have Joel Fleischman and Shelly Basso from Aspen Homes.
Shelly was just saying you guys really need intro music. Yeah. So there was our horrible, cheesy...
That was a great jam. That was great.
Artificial intelligence, stock intro music. Cheers. Welcome, Shelly.
Thank you. I already popped mine open.
That's
Sorry.
Great. I have to say before you even start, I love women builders. Well, I love women in general, right? But beyond that, I'm truly I love women that are in our industry. So thank you for being in our industry. You bring so much energy and difference and uniqueness, and we just need anybody listening. I'm sure you agree, Shelly. We need more.
Definitely.
In every
aspect.
Every single trade, every aspect. Yes, please come aboard this amazing industry. I don't know why it's so absolutely male-driven, but it is so male-dominant, and really for no reason.
Probably. Maybe the brawn of it.
This shtick of the labor.
Are you the builder? Do you get out there with your hammer and nails? And from listening to your podcast, I know that you don't do that.
Yeah, thank you. Wow, look at her being all debriefed. Correct.
So our avid listeners we were just talking about.
Yep, I am.
Yes, but maybe it goes. I mean, I'm sure it does go back historically to the manual physical labor that was needed. But at this point, come on, people, let's go.
I guess just to start off, let's go with that. Since again, I'm not from the industry, and obviously been working here 3 years, so I've learned a lot, but still have miles and miles to go. How much has that changed over the years, where it was the traditional to where it's at now?
I would say, so I've owned Aspen Homes now for 30 years. And
that was hard for her to say. It's a long pause. Mm-hmm. I'm the same way. I'm 30 plus years. Oh my gosh, shoot me now.
Mm-hmm. That puts me, I would say when I started, there were maybe 3 total builders that I knew of. I could probably just count on my hands who they were. And some of them were, wives of the builder, how they said it. But yeah, it's been kind of a slow growth for women in the industry and owning businesses and all of that. But I've been seeing a lot more, recently. It used to be more of the ladies were just getting into the design or working with the selections.
You have to be an interior designer in selections, and cabinetry designer, right? Cabinet designer. That had to be a woman.
Yeah.
Horrible.
Sure. Well, we are good at that, though. But.
Oh gosh, see, that's how this works. We go right down these stereotypes.
But I would say, when I started, it was tough. It was tough to kind of break into that market. I can kind of start with where I started. I went to school at UW Wisconsin right out of high school, and I was there for about a year, and then I transferred down to Milwaukee because I thought, I think I'm going to go into architecture. My parents were home builders. My brother was the older sibling. So
hi Rod. Shout out to Rod Demling.
Hey, Rod, who did not want to come with me today, probably.
I know, right? Correct, right. Yep. So
I think he's next.
I would love to have Rod on, absolutely.
I was going to bring my dad up with me today. I was like, Dad, this is supposed to be a cool happy hour
That would have been
thing.
Cool. Yeah, that would have been cool.
I'm like, Joel works with his dad.
Let's get all 3 on.
We could do that.
Can we get all 3 on?
Yeah.
Sure.
If your dad comes on, will Rod come on? We'll find out.
Yeah, we'll find out. We'll find out. We'll get him.
Okay.
But, so, I started in one school. I transferred to another. I still, wasn't, I was in that mindset that I had to go to college, right? And I said to my dad, I'm like, well, maybe I want to be a home builder, so I think I'm going to go into architecture. And I started school down at UWM, and he was like, well, why don't you come to work, when you're not in school, and I'm going to build a spec home with you. I'm going to teach you everything that I know. And so that's kind of how it started. Rod had already kind of taken over the family business. For some reason, my dad and my mom thought, I don't think those two maybe they both have the A personalities where we might not work, as efficiently together. So my dad kind of took me under his wing. I moved into his office over at Demling Builders and just kind of took the corner of it. And, Rod was busy running Demling Builders and kind of embracing that full force. So I put the first spec home up with my dad. He made me do a bunch of the work. I had to get my real estate license while I was building it. Had me do all the scheduling.
And how many homes a year did your dad build?
At the time, I think they were probably building, I'm going to guess maybe 30 to 40.
Which at that time, and it's still
When was that roughly? When was
that's
that
still a
roughly
large volume, but that was huge back then.
Timeline for me, that would have been 1993.
Okay.
So that's when I started.
Okay.
So you never finished college? You went right there?
I didn't. So I got that first spec home up.
And good for you, because at that time, I mean, we're the same age.
Yeah.
At that time, if you quit college, you got the big, oh, sorry, it didn't work out, Shelly.
Yeah.
Which, again, for anybody listening that are younger, that hopefully that stigma died with our generation, because that's not true.
Yeah. We'll talk about the high schools,
Yeah.
I think the trades and things are starting to come back slowly. But
Yeah. Well, I think the stigma's gone, which is one of the best parts. You're not like, oh, sorry, you're going to be an electrician.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So, Mother's Day, 1993, I had my open house, and I sold that house.
Oh, cool.
Made the sign outside. That was my extent of my marketing career. Made that sign in the front yard and sold the house. And I remember I made like $20,000 on the house, and that was like, I just paid for like 2 years,
You're
a whole
rich.
year of college.
Right.
Yeah, you're rich.
And
like you're loaded.
yeah, I was totally.
You give me $20,000 in 1983, and I'm like going to Cabo. Like, I'm like,
Right.
I made it.
So I was like, well, bet this is great.
You were
I'm
hooked.
gonna do this. So did another one while I was in school, and then in school we started doing like more engineering, steel loads, skyscrapers, talking about that, and I was like, this is absolutely not what I want to do. So
We've hired.
that's kind of what got me.
Sure.
We've hired people from, and again, no, don't take it the wrong way if anybody's in those schools. Take it the wrong way if you're a professor, honestly. We've hired people from University of Minnesota and University of Milwaukee with an architectural degree. One person, and it's happened, they don't know what a hip roof is or a gable roof is. They literally don't know. They don't know anything of a residential new construction home in Wisconsin.
Yeah, there's no residential in it, I don't
There's no residential, but even commercial, it's conceptual and a little structural. It's really
Yeah.
it's not a great dynamic. So shout out to the professors. Change, please.
Yeah, I have kids right now that one's going to be a senior and one's going to be a senior in college, and they both have an interest to be involved in the family business, but it's hard to tell them like what they should go to school for if that's what they're into, because I feel like there's so much of what I do is maybe more business related or entrepreneurship versus go to school for an architecture degree or an interior design degree.
Maybe at NTC, construction management and North Technical College, right?
North Central up in
North Central.
Yep.
Yeah, the construction management degrees that we get out of there, a 2-year degree, they come with real life. They know how to build things. They know how the building process. They know the building process, which is huge to know.
Do you get people from Stout? Because they're supposed to have
that. Yeah,
they have like a hands-on different type of learning there.
I have not seen that yet.
Okay.
But that could be.
How much, Shelly, from when you were growing up with your dad to actually starting there, like you're talking about mid-90s, selling your first spec home that way, how much, was it drastically different, or did you have a pretty good handle even of what he was doing and how the whole business operated when you were growing up?
I would say it's drastically different from what it is today, because now there's so much more detail. Like our job sheet to build a house was probably 4 pages back then, and now it's 42 pages on a online cloud-based system. So I think,
is that really what it? Yeah, that's great.
For us, it is. It's huge.
Yeah. Well, even an interior door, right? Interior door in the 90s, you had like 1, 2, 3 options. It was like Luan or oak.
Yep.
Nothing pre-finished, so you'd have to go through that process. Like, it was like so basic. Like, I would be delivering doors in 1993, and if somebody did a 6-panel oak, I always said they were rich and they were crazy.
Yeah.
Like, you're rich and crazy. Like,
and they were
gosh.
6-panel oak doors back then were like $200 more than the oak Luan.
Yeah, it was insane. Like I said, you were rich and crazy. Like, this person won the lottery and they're nuts because this is insane. I just remember like lifting. I'm like, who do they think they are? But it's so changed now, vastly different.
I think the base price on my first model was $89,900, and that was the first model that I had was in '94.
Okay.
Now my base prices are closer to $600,000.
Wow, a little different.
The question on their roof was, when I at least worked with builders in this, and you were a little further south, so it was a little bigger scale homes. It was do you want 412 pitch or 612? Like that was. Again, over that, you were like, wow, you are really going for it here. You got like an 812 pitch with like a hip roof. Okay, and I was like sweating. I'm like, I got to order these trusses. Like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I just order.
They might be piggybacked.
Oh my gosh! I would just, people would be like, "What'd you figure for lumber?" And like, I just do an allowance. I don't even know what you're talking about. Like, I would just be, 47 commons and 2 ends. Yeah,
Nice.
Yeah, piggyback. Whew.
So growing up, and you were talking about, you're doing design stuff and you did a little bit of marketing, and is there anything, as you were mentioning about your kids and possibly the kids joining the business, is there anything you would tell them to do differently with them going through it as how you went through it? Or would you want them to see all maybe little different areas of things as they go through things to get the experience that, you kind of gained when you were younger?
I think I was just like kind of thrown into it, and like every day was like I learned something.
Sure.
I went home and I was, oh, that's how they did that, or
live bullets.
yeah, like just on repeat. So I think right now my son Braden is
Braden.
Hi Braden. He's going to be a senior at Whitewater, and so this summer he's interning with us. And at first I was like, while he was in school, I was like, maybe he should work somewhere else first. Like he should go to a bigger company, because I always have this idea in my head that owning a small business maybe is I don't know the right word to say for it, but just you haven't made it there unless
Sure.
you're like working for this big great company and you have all these
I think I like that. I've read that online. I think we all have that new term, imposter syndrome, where it's like just even me at Drexel, I'm like, I really don't know what I'm doing. I'm just faking it. Like if you went somewhere else, they, Mercury Marine, they got their shit figured out, right? Like these big companies do. And then, I think we learn.
You're never happy with what you're doing because you feel like you're never enough,
and then you think Harley knows what they're doing, and then you realize they're just people too. And then you talk to somebody at Harley, like, well, that's stupid. Why do they do it that way? And you got to give yourself more credit, right?
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
But so I said to him, I'm like, maybe you should work for another builder or another, like a bigger construction company or something. And we finally ended up that he's been here this summer. So, and that's going really well. And we did just kind of throw him into the mix every day. He's got one person in our office that he job shadows. And Marcus, you and I were talking about that before. Like, what do you do at Drexel? And how do you make things happen with, now you have 800 employees and,
team members. Sorry, Shelly, team members.
Team members.
She says it's so like the cult. Team members.
I remember when you guys were just getting the football team put together. It was a new thing, and you were like, "Do you guys like quarterbacks?" And I was like, "Well, my kids play soccer, but
center. That'd be a midfielder. Midfielder.
You're like, as long as my stuff shows up on time, right? Like,
sure.
That's what you want it to be.
Yeah.
But no, I think like throwing them into the mix and then, having a great plan for what happens day to day would be great. But in my business, I feel like I do something different every day.
Which makes it enjoyable, right?
That's been the only thing that makes it like wonderful to do, because every day could be a different day for me.
I do think there is some value for a Braden or people that want to get into construction and own their own construction business. There's some value to go work for, I've learned from other people that have done it, work for a national builder. Mm-hmm. And maybe things they do great, and maybe things you're like, wow, I would never do that. I think the NVRs, Pulte's of the world, going there and seeing their processes, because it's so crazy on scale. 30,000, 40,000 homes. Mm-hmm. So organized and so drilled down. Take bits and pieces of that and incorporate it into a smaller business seems to add value to me, but that's not always the reality,
Right.
So Metro Builders Association, Wisconsin Home Builders, you've been Company of the Year, right?
Mm-hmm. Builder of the Year is what they call it.
Builder of the Year. How have you, continue to just have success as you go along? Is there something that you're always looking to, or is it just like something you live by with just being consistent every day and, kind of, like you said, just being and taking all these different experiences and just doing the best that you can every single day? Or, how do you kind of measure what success is on a day-to-day basis?
Shelly's secret sauce.
Yeah, what's my secret sauce? I would say, you'll get like right into the feels on this, but when I was pregnant with my twins, I have 3 kids. When I was pregnant with my twins, my first husband passed away. He was in a car accident. And the biggest learning lesson that I learned from that was like, oh shit, I have to go to work. Like, I'm in charge of these 3 kids now. There's nobody that's gonna help me with it. You said my family helped me and all that, but I do remember getting up like every day and being like, oh, I guess I got to do this because nobody's going to do it for me, right? So I think that was like what has always been like my driving force, is like just to try to keep being productive and every day to learn something so that I could be productive for my family. And that ended up being like making a big impact on me, like where most people would think, oh, this is such a sad story or whatever. But it ended up being like, a moment in my life where I could learn something from it and kind of take that and expand on it in business. So it made me stronger. It made me be able to deal with difficult customers. You know, when you would have a customer complaining about their 6-panel door that the stain color is not what they thought it was going to be. And it's like, oh, you guys, this is not what's important in life. Mm-hmm. And you need to get past this one little minute detail of your house, because let us finish it and it's going to be beautiful. And so it helped me to like learn how to deal with a lot of those adversities.
Yeah. My sister passed away when she was 23, Krista, in a car accident.
Okay.
Immediately killed. Mm-hmm. And I think it's helped. I said in many ways, not for her, well, maybe for her because she's in heaven, she's just waiting, so she's having a great time. You know, in many ways, to some degrees in our family, it was almost a blessing. At least it was for me. I can't speak for my family. I shouldn't do that to them. Just, again, almost like waking up. Mm-hmm. Like every moment's important. The big stuff doesn't, or the little stuff does not matter. And matters. Somebody's screaming at me for trusses, and I'm like, chill out. And I think it was a great point you put. Like, you learned that you were disciplined over motivation. Mm-hmm. Right, you weren't listening to a podcast being like, I'm going to go be the best builder I can be. You were just disciplined. I'm putting my pants on.
Yep.
I'm going to work. I'm assuming some days I'm a train wreck.
Yep.
My kids are a train wreck, but I'm doing this.
Yep.
And I think when you put discipline first, because motivation is I always say motivation is like deodorant. You need it daily and it wears off. Right, where discipline is like, I'm doing this every day as hard as I can because that's just who I am. Yeah. So I think that was a really great point that you brought up, and I would agree that might be your secret sauce, that you're just disciplined, like, I'm freaking doing this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my dad passed, ironically, in a car accident end of 2022, and we have a neighbor who was an older woman who lost her husband a few years ago to cancer, and she was asking how my mom's doing, and I'm like, oh, she's hanging in there, she's, going along, and she literally looked at me and she goes, yep, we just have no choice sometimes. And that's so true. It's so like, just bold, but that's what it is, right? Like, you got a decision to make and you just got to keep going, right?
And everyone has tragedies, the more.
Yeah.
It's just part of life.
Yeah.
Right.
I call it fall. I've coached kids forever, right? We talk about that almost every episode. I always told the kids, we always did fall 7, rise 8, 3 times before we started the game. I said, I don't care how many times you fall down, you just get up. Mm-hmm. So we always did fall 7, rise 8, fall 7, rise 8. Because I always think you fall down 7, the most important part was the 8th time you got your ass up.
Right.
That's all we got. Sometimes you just got to get up. That's just all that matters. So.
Yeah.
Are you still coaching?
No, I just recently retired.
Okay.
8th grade parish team basketball, extremely serious stuff, right, Marcus? Just kidding.
It is to the kids, though, sometimes. Depending on who you got.
You put that on Twitter recently, right? You just said when you were coaching, if you would have just realized how few people actually cared.
Yep.
Right? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And your point, though, too, anything that we do on a day-to-day basis, sometimes you just, when you're in it and you're devoting everything to it, you feel like everybody in the world's watching, even though they're not. Just because you're so into it, and then you step away and you're like, actually, it only affected this segment of people.
Even your spouses and your kids, the people that you're closest to, probably people you work with, you're just a minor character in their play. Mm-hmm. Like, you're not their main character, but we really think we're the main character. We're really not. Mm-hmm. Like, we're not with them that much. We're not always in their thoughts. We're just like the side stage character.
But they're always in our thoughts.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, to some degree. But yet, even that, right, it's still our play. Mm-hmm. They still just come and go, even though they're in our thoughts, right? Even our kids are a huge part of the play, but when you actually watch the play, they have somewhat of a role. Yeah. But it's interesting. It's an interesting thing. So keep going forward. Sorry,
for Marcus. Sure. Yeah, so to obviously leading the team, doing what you're doing with building real estate, but then managing a family, how do you find that balance? We talk about that a lot here at Drexel, just about, having that balance and being able to step away. I mean, is that something?
And knowing Shelly, she's always available.
I'm not good at balance.
She's at association stuff. Like, she's very there, right?
Sure.
If you show up, it's usually like, where's Shelly, and you can find her.
Right.
So kind of speak to that, because I'm curious about that too, because like I said, to me, she's always available.
Balance has been, I think, the biggest struggle for me, owning a business, being a mom, really for anybody, a mom, a dad, whoever it is. If you're at work and you own a business, it pretty much comes home with you, right? So I would say that that's probably one of my biggest struggles that I've had with running the family and running a business.
Is there anything you would do different for
sure,
balance? Like,
for sure.
What would you do different?
Well, yesterday I turned 50, so
Happy birthday.
So I think my immediate goals in the future is like spend more time, taking time with my family. They're all getting older. I have a going to be a junior, going to be a senior in high school, one that's going to be graduating college. So it's like that time is slipping away from me, right? And I
it's
think
the sands in the hourglass, and it's like there's like 6 left, right?
It is.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh. And then you hear about a friend is sick or something happens to someone, you're like, oh, I gotta go and do that. I've gotta go and get that boat. Or
so how do you make the time?
That. I think I get up earlier.
Same.
I mean,
it's a big
I get
thing.
up at 5 in the morning, sometimes a little earlier. Try to get a workout in. That makes me feel better about having a productive day. And
I think that's a huge part. If somebody's looking to be more productive or balanced, if you can get your work, and if you do like to work out, and if you get that done, at least for me, get it done before anybody's even awake.
Yep.
I get up at 4:15 every day. It just sets your day correct, and then it's not in the back of your head of, well, when I go after supper, I should probably go do something.
Yeah, I can't.
I cannot either. And God bless the people that can do the night stuff. But I just get I'm worn down from the day. I'm a little bit burned out. I want a little off time. I don't want to ramp back up. So we're the same page that way.
Yeah.
But I would agree. I mean, if anybody's kind of listening, wondering, I think that's a key. What else?
Probably just making lists of what I need to get done. Over the years, I used to be able to just boom, 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 get my stuff done, do what I had to do. But now it's probably, making time for those people, scheduling appointments with your friends.
It's funny how quick things slip away, right? Year after year, when all of a sudden you're like, oh, we haven't, like we were kind of talking about that just before we got on air. But.
Yeah, we only have 38 good beers left. Rod told me last night at my birthday party that I had 10 more good years.
And everyone that's in their 60s are like, BS on that, right? Bullshit. I'm 79 and I'm doing great.
One of my friends,
that'd be my dad.
One of my friends was like, no, you have to, it's more like 9 to 11. So
it's a range if we're lucky. That seems so short, but that's great. Back to I think one thing I wanted to ask you about, because again, you're always available, and I think what people don't understand is builders like yourself work nights and weekends. Like that is normal. Like a full day Saturday for a builder is very normal, because that's when their clients are available. Clients aren't available at 8 a.m. necessarily. So do you end up, how do you balance your weekends and nights and all that?
I try to get away from that now, because we don't need to be there on the nights and weekends. We can get things done.
You just kind of realized at one point, like, I'm not being that impactful.
Yeah, I'm not impactful. Like, my kids I've got to go to a soccer thing all weekend or doing something like that. So we do try to really budget our time in the office, and for our selections coordinator and for people in our office, we've kind of stopped it and said, we know that you guys, a lot of you people work from home, and you can take a break or you can make that happen, and building a house is so important. So we've actually had really great clients that,
I kind of want to give her, like, we've got our website up here, aspenhomesinc.com, right? So kind of give me two things, like, how does your office staff work? Like, what's the scale of your team? And then a second question would be, so kind of the scale of your team and who all fits in the pieces, but really what is the building process with Aspen Homes?
Well,
like how do you, like, every builder does that slightly different too. Like for every builder's got a different spin on how that process goes.
So we build most of I would say 75% of our homes are built off of a model home. We have 2 models at any given time that we have in the area.
So you go tour them.
Yep, tour our models.
Right. So that's super important to you to have
a
model that pops, because you're selling off of those all the time. Okay.
Yeah. So people come out, tour our models. I would say we make what sets us apart from a more production builder is we make changes off of our models. So rarely is it going to be the same house that's, just like the model. People will come in, they'll want a larger garage or a canted garage, extra bedrooms, in-law suites, screen porches, all the fun things.
Almost exclusive to Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Outside Wisconsin, people do not customize models.
That's crazy.
But in Wisconsin, it's completely truly custom home market. It really is.
I know. I've been to Florida and looking at model homes, or my parents were buying a house, and you get their lighting package down to the light fixtures that are in the house, and you're not allowed to change any of it until after you close.
Yeah.
So, here in Wisconsin, we really cater to people. We're definitely more of a semi-custom builder. People will go through our model. We'll do, a pricing proposal where we basically break down everything line by line, what, is different from the model, what that cost is associated with it. You're showing some ideas right now on the website. And then, come up with our final price. They go in for their construction financing. And from the day that we start until the day that we finish, we're generally a 6 to 7 month build.
Which is fairly quick.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And if we have a finished basement or winter, that'll take on an extra month. But we have a great process through it where our job managers will run the jobs and be in touch with the homeowner at least weekly. Most of our job managers talk to customers every other day. And we have some pre-scheduled walkthroughs, inspections, and things that we do with the homeowner. Pre-construction walk, mechanicals, a mechanical overview, and then just wrap-ups at the end, and then like a full walkthrough at the end, kind of showing them how to use everything. And we do have a lot of first-time buyers, which is crazy because
which has to be always fun to work with, right? I mean,
they are fun.
Yeah,
but your homes are also not truly starter homes either. So
no, they're not.
So they somehow accrued enough equity.
Somehow they've been buying other homes, and then they're finally at a point where they're like, well, we're going to build our own house.
Oh, it's their first time new construction.
Correct.
But not their first home.
Usually not.
Okay, I heard that wrong. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a process when you've never built a house.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a little different.
Yeah.
That's eye-opening.
And I think we do a really good job of Andy Backus in our office.
Hi, Andy.
Hey, Andy. He's our production manager. And Andy handles the pre-construction meeting, plan reviews, and he really is good at setting the expectations of, hey, you're building a home that has never been built for anyone else before, right?
That's a great way to say it.
There's always going to be something different. There's always 100% going to be something that happens along the way that's a little hiccup. Mm-hmm. Like, oh, your windows were supposed to come in, they're a week late, or whatever it is. Or this tub isn't available anymore, we have to have you reselect. There's always going to be something that happens when you're building a custom home. So we set that expectation, and we do a lot of communication. I was telling you back when we first started, our job sheet used to be 4 pages long, and we used to fax it, to our contractors. And
they might have,
when they
history lessons.
When the change order, when they didn't make the change that we asked them to, it's going to be because they didn't get the fax, right?
Right.
And now all of our stuff is real time. It's cloud based. It's if we want to know what the selection is, Justin from Drexel will go on and. He called me today and he's like, is it okay for me to order this millwork for this job? Is it okay for me to get this because I noticed that you didn't lock it in yet? It's not locked. And I was like, oh, thanks. I forgot, So that would be for a spec home. So I usually handle the models and the specs in our company. So, but so we
and that's technology. I mean, you're using like the BizTrack or some sort of.
We use Co-Construct, which is owned by Builder Trend now.
Yeah, okay,
so
that's
you guys are used to that.
I think everyone is somehow under the Builder Trend
Somebody's
umbrella.
under that umbrella. Yeah.
Right.
Ours is just probably Co-Construct was a little different than Builder Trend, but now they bought each other out. So
yeah. Great software.
And then I would say in the office, as far as how the job is ran, after we do the plan review, then kind of the magic happens with Cindy in our office and Nicole, who will do our exteriors and interior color selections. So they work on We do plumbing, flooring. We do everything in-house.
I'll say it's all in your
Yep.
offices.
Yep. So we have, a small showroom in the office. We try to manage that because our clients are busy, right? They don't have time to go to 12 different places, and then they pick out a countertop here, and then they forget what their flooring looked like. So they got to make another appointment to go back once they get the flooring. So we try to handle a lot of it in the office. We get like a bunch of our vendors together. They put together their curated packages for us, and we work on some really good pricing. Like with Drexel, we have here's some flooring brands that we can use. With another vendor, this is the cabinets, and you can have all the door styles. And, another vendor, these are the countertops that we put in our builder collection. So
it's really getting a collection together, kind of using your buying power.
Yep.
And understanding and saying, these are the hottest, trendiest ones of the manufacturers that we deal with, or the suppliers and partners we deal with, and kind of somewhat limiting it down from walking into a showroom that's just a confusing library of craziness.
And I think you've had that idea for years.
You've
said to us, Shelly, you should buy all your stuff from us because we can, we buy all this. And as through the years that we've been partners together, I think I just asked Kevin when it was, and he thought it was 2009 that we started working together.
Yeah, Great Recession. That makes a lot of sense, probably.
So started working with you guys then. Kevin was drawing all of our plans. So we were getting the plans from you, the lumber from you, trusses, everything, all the engineering. And it's really a great way to put a package together, right?
And we're really trying to even take that further, right? So we were like, let's put a builder collection for you for buying power. But I don't think we were, and that's just been in the last 6 months, because that's what I'm doing every day, is now going to the manufacturer and kind of doing the same thing you do and being like, we need the power of this.
Yep.
I don't need 243 LVPs. I need 45.
Yep.
And Shelly will end up with 7 or 8 of them, but I don't need 6 vendors. I need one really good vendor that's really, really good with the hottest trends. But then what we didn't do good was then telling the other vendors no, because then everything got filtered down, and then saying, okay, because of that, I am what we use the term shit tons. You just had stickers made called, it's on my laptop, shit tons. And I'm like, I want to buy shit tons from you. And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, I don't know how much you ever bought. I want to buy 10 times more than you ever sold in your life today. And then that drives the price down. And hopefully you're seeing that on your bottom line on our pricing. Because that we haven't been taking advantage of our buying power. And that helps you. Because you don't have that collective buying power we do. So I need to drive that down, which has been really fun for me. So there's Joel's editorial. I always do sneak one of them in at least a session. But.
Yeah, get one in, right?
Joel, how many? So in 2009, you had the Camel Sport location. I think you probably had Kiel.
Yep, just had bought in Berlin. Or Brookfield.
You had 3.
Just bought Brookfield in 09, 010.
Okay.
So just Drexel Interiors. We had Kiel, Berlin, and Camel Sport.
Okay. How many employees did you have back then versus now?
We had about 150 to 120, depending if it was Drexel Interiors or not. So I'd say 120 in 09, 120 team members. And no manufacturing facility.
Crazy.
And 0 in manufacturing. And now we have about half of our team, 400s, in the manufacturing facilities. So through vertical integration. So, and manufacturing in semi-custom and in a custom market has been really interesting because the robotic people for our truss plant, they're like, because salesmen are salesmen. It can do all that. It's going to be great. You watch the YouTube video, you go tour someplace in Canada that has it, and then they come to Wisconsin, and we tell them it's custom, and they're like, every truss is different. Like, you don't ever have the same order. We're like, yeah, we told you. And they're like, well, that's really hard for a robot. It's really hard to manufacture custom items. It's great to make a beer. It's, think of anything you manufacture. I want to make 1 million of these pens that I'm holding. So it's been interesting in manufacturing to stay customized without, but you still have to have the speed to the ball and the price.
This is one thing I always wonder, so we talk about that and how everything is custom now and people can make so many changes, and with clients going on the internet and they have their Pinterest boards that they're coming in with and all that, and the price is just going up and up and up. Do you think that we're going to get to the point where things are going to start to be basic again. Like,
Well-
are we ever going to get basic design? Like our grandparents' house,
Yeah.
was like
I think
1,300 square foot.
Right.
Drexel's doing that without maybe even knowing totally. I mean, we're doing that. We're eliminating displays. We're eliminating options. People are overloaded. And
Yeah, I
most
feel
of
like
the
it's too much.
And most of the Pinterest boards, consumers and homeowners, it's the same.
Yeah.
I want this really trendy, cool thing that I found that nobody else has. You're like, yep, and that's been our last 12 orders. So I think going with the trends, and then the trends change really quick, but flowing with those trends change really quick. And again, use our buying power, our understanding of it, because I don't think it's as it appeared like it's the illusion.
It doesn't have to be as hard as it is.
Yes, there's an illusion that there's a gazillion
Right.
options, and to me, it's still. I always go back to restaurants, right? The illusion is that there's no menu. End of the day, you and I still have a menu in your showroom, in our thought process, in the budget.
Right.
You know what I mean? So we kind of, it's a custom home, and it's like, not really. We're not putting down, 20, gazillion-dollar carpet, and
And people want a home that they can customize, maybe not a custom home.
yeah.
But they also want it done yesterday. So I feel like with Aspen, I've had a lot of success having spec homes and homes that are started that I put on the market like by the time they're drywalled.
I think that is actually going to, where you're in the Milwaukee metro area, if you look at Madison, almost all the homes in Madison are pre-built, right? Or what do they call them in Madison? I can't think of the term. Pre-sold. They have a really neat name. It's not spec. Maybe it is pre-built. It's not pre-built. It's a kind of a cool name. But almost, I would say 80% of the homes there are ready to go because these people are not from Wisconsin, a lot of them. They've moved into the area or moving into the area or got out of the university, and they just want to move into their home. They don't want to go through the process.
And they really do want to do a lot of shopping before they come in. Like usually
They want to go
before
they wanna
someone
walk-
comes into the model, they
Yeah.
know a lot about us already.
Yeah, no, and
Right.
that's what, and they should. Like, that's the advantage, right, of the internet. That should be their goal of, like, I've talked to builders about, I've talked to people about your reputation needs to be, because when people have asked me, which they do all the time, Joel, who should I build with? And that's like such a loaded question
Well,
for me.
of course you're going to say.
Everyone. I always said I'm like that girl in college. I sleep with everyone. But I actually, and that's the truth, is I say, find someone you can trust. I said, there's so many good builders
Right.
out there. I said, ultimately, like you said, with Andy, there's so many things that are going to go wrong, so many unknowns, even in allowances and little budgets and little decisions you have to make. And if you don't have that genuine trust, you're going to get skeptical so quick. It's going to be the drywall stage,
Yep.
and hey, this didn't quite work out like you thought. And you're like, yep, here we go. It's going to be a huge charge. And so you got to have this working trust with them.
That's the hard thing. It's hard to market your trustability, I guess you want to put it
Yeah.
that way. Like, everyone in my office is a team player. They're from Nicole, who, takes care of the office, answers the phone, does exterior selections. Katie's our office manager. They're always thinking about something that they can do that makes the process better for customers. And they're always around for a phone call. And even if someone calls in, whether it's a contractor or a customer, if Katie answers the phone and she handles our draws and handles our accounts receivable and payable, so she's very into the books end of things, she'll pick up something or open up co-construct, and she'll try to figure out something for everybody, because all of those people are just there to make everyone's process much better.
That's pretty cool.
So I think it's hard that you can't market that
No.
Yeah, but
unless you have Google reviews that people think are fake, right?
yeah, that's really true. And I do think trust is earned like a tree over time, I always say. And trust can be lost with one swing of the axe.
Right.
So one big mistake in this one subdivision, cracked windshield, spiderweb effect.
Yeah.
Again, not so much social media. I don't know if that has a
Social
true
media's got a
impact.
big part of that.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
especially in smaller companies. I don't know if in new construction, if that gets that watered down, but can hurt you. But man, trust just takes time. But I think you do a great job. One homer at a time. One homer at a time. I mean, that's what we try to do. One builder at a time. One order at a time. One invoice at a time. We just talked about it today. Nick Whitty, who runs our Camel Sports store, he just said it in a text thread to all of our store leaders today. He said, it's one sale at a time, one quarter at a time, one order at a time. Like, get everything right now. It's June. Like, we need to dial this in. Not, again, get all frantic. That's where trust gets built. It's like, did my millwork get ordered, Justin? Well, I'm working on it. Like, oh, shit. Are you? It just trust is built. There's no way around that. Yeah, I don't know how to market trust either.
Yeah, I guess like
you
your point
right?
too, right? If you have 20 team members or employees and 19 of them are willing to be helping out one another and dive into things, but the one person who is at the front counter or interacts with someone is like, well, I don't know, that's not my job. It instantly just throws off everything, right? The whole trust and everything.
But it sounds like you have a great culture where people are encouraged not to stay in their lane and help.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
We all cross over.
End of the day, you're just building a home, right? Like
Right.
let's all work together and build this home.
So again, going back to what you said, right? Doing a little something different every day is what makes it enjoyable, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. More skills and all that. So I guess we're 40 minutes in here.
Okay.
So
overtime.
Oh no.
You have
All right, we can quit then. I was actually just looking at.
You can quit then. We're a sports culture.
Go
ahead, Shelly.
No, you go first.
No, go ahead.
No, it sounds just stupid. It's stupid.
No, we should have an overtime button. We're a sport. You think this sounds stupid? Wait till I say what I'm going to say.
Like the B-dubs button?
I think we should have an overtime button where we're like, we're into overtime. Because
I like that.
we try to do 32 minutes because I like Magic Johnson. It just sounds right. So we are
otherwise it gets
strongly
boring.
into overtime.
Okay.
In soccer, that would be added time.
Added time.
Added time.
We're into the penalty kicks.
Yeah. Oh no! Wow, that's bad. No, that's really shut down. We're into added. I like added time
Shelly
better
versus Joel.
because there's no
Billboard question here. Penalty kicks. Who's going to win? Because yours changes, I know. So you probably get a different one right now for maybe the month of June here. But Shelly first. So you got one billboard. Everybody in the USA can see it. Is it family, work related? Does it just matter to you as a mantra? What is your billboard? What does it say and why?
My billboard, I thought about this for a while, a couple days now. I've been really just trying to think about this. But I think my billboard, it would be on I-94. It would say, own your future. And to that, we kind of touched base on, doing things right the first time. Nobody's going to do it for you. Stepping up, making your own impact in your family, taking the time with your kids. You won't get any of that back. And just owning what you do.
Sure. Love it.
I love it. I can tell you just turned 50, like own the future.
Yeah.
But also I can tell you're such a good mom. I can tell because that you're speaking to your kids because of the age they're at. Like own their future.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That's
Make sure
awesome.
you get good grades too.
But own the future. I'm like, okay, her kids are that age. Like,
yep.
You start thinking of like, okay, like I need to start being a different kind of parent, right?
Yep.
Very, very cool. You want mine? Is that what you're asking?
Do you have a new one?
Right now in my head, I would say I think this is a Bob Goff book. Today, I would say my billboard is love more. Love
that's good.
More. Like just our whole world needs it, or our country needs it. Every person, like that's it. Just go love somebody. Like just love more. I want just people to read the billboard and be like, love more. Like call mom, call dad. Life is short. Just love more.
Awesome. It's a good way to end it. 105. We are out.
105. Thanks,
All right,
Shelly.
Thanks for joining.
You're no longer